The point 4, 3 is on the graph here. And this is called rectangular form when you write the coordinates of a point in this way. So the 4 indicates the distance to the right, basically, from the origin, and the 3 represents how far up I need to go from there. Now there is another way to describe this using what's called trigonometric form, and I'll show you how that works. Imagine I make this triangle here. Now, this triangle has a right angle, and it has, besides the 3 and the 4, it has a hypotenuse, which I'm going to call R, and it has 2 acute angles. I'm going to call this one the angle that's made with the positive x-axis, call that theta. If I can work out the value of R and theta, now R is easy because using the Pythagorean theorem, 3 squared plus 4 squared ends up being square root of 25 is 5. And for theta, I'll use tan inverse. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So in this case, that's 3 over 4. And you type that into your calculator. Make sure you're in degree mode, and you get 36.9 degrees. Now, let's call this 5, and this 36.9 degrees. Now imagine that I didn't know, hold on. Imagine I didn't know about this 3 and 4. And all I knew was that this R value was 5 and the theta was 36.9 degrees. Well, if I wanted to actually work out what x and y were, where this is x and that's y, I would use trigonometry. See, in any triangle, if the hypotenuse is 1 and this is theta, the opposite side is going to be sine theta, and the adjacent side is going to be cosine theta, because sine theta is the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse. So when the hypotenuse is 1, the length of that opposite side is actually sine theta. So this y value, and if it's not 1, if it's bigger, like it's 5, then it's just going to be 5 times bigger. 5 sine theta, 5 cosine theta. So in this case, this y can be written as 5 sine of 36.9, and the x is 5 cosine 36.9. So this point, this 4, 3 point, is also, could be written as, although it's pretty ugly, but it's right, as 5 cosine 36.9, comma 5 sine 36.9. Notice that these two numbers match, and these two numbers match, and there's a cosine for the x and a sine for the y, and we're going to call this trigonometric form. Now at this point, trigonometric form is just a complicated way of saying 4, 3, but it is going to have a purpose coming soon. Let's see, another question. So the point might be in a different quadrant. For instance, here's a point here. I'm just going to call this point minus 4, 9, so don't worry about these numbers on the axes. Now, my answer is going to look like this: r cosine theta, comma r sine theta. But the question is, what's r and what's theta? Well, r is the length of this line segment, so it's going to be the square root of 4 squared plus 9 squared. We don't even have to worry about this negative sign because these are like distances, and we get about 9.9 for that rounded. If you want, you could draw on this right triangle. You can see why r is using 4, 9, and we don't need to use the negative 4. This length is actually 4. So that's part of our answer, 9.9 cosine, comma 9.9 sine. Now this angle, which actually goes from here all the way to there, it's going to be between 90 and 180. Now if I do tan inverse of y over x, which is 9, tan inverse, right, of 9 over 4. I'm not going to do 9 over negative 4. I'm going to do 9, I'm going to use positives always, so 9 over 4. And I get 66 degrees. That's actually this angle here, which is not quite the theta that I wanted. But it helps me get it because when we're in quadrant 2, this thing that I just found is actually called alpha. It's the reference angle. What I want is theta is going to be 180 degrees minus alpha, which is 114. So for quadrant 2, theta is going to be 180 degrees minus tan inverse. Give myself a little more room for that. Theta is equal to 180 degrees minus tan inverse of, I'm just going to say absolute value y over absolute value x. So like I ignore the if there's a negative sign. There are two other quadrants. So let's see what happens if I have to do minus 4 comma minus 8. Here's alpha. It's always from the positive x-axis to the line segment that connects 0, 0 to the point. Well, the r value is just the square root of 4 squared plus 8 squared, which is at 63.4. And now, if I work out tan inverse, I'll say alpha equals tan inverse of 8 over 4. Not negative 8, negative 4, but just regular 8 over 4. And I get 63.4. Sorry. This other one wasn't 63.4. That was 8.9. Positive 63.4. But what I just found was this angle right here called alpha. That's 63.4. But alpha, theta is 180, and then keep going that amount. So theta is 180 plus 63.4, which is 243.4. Now that I have that, my answer is going to be 8.9 cosine 234.4, comma 8.9 sine 234.4. There is one more quadrant. So here's a point that's 4 comma negative 6. R is the square root of 4 squared plus 6 squared, which is 7.2. Halfway done. Alpha is tan inverse of just regular 6 over 4, which gets me, I guess, 56.3. And just to tell you what that 56.3 is, here's my theta. That 56.3 is that thing. So the translation for quadrant 4 is going to be 360 minus alpha, which in this case is 303.7. So the answer is 7.2 cosine 303.7, comma 7.2 sine 303.7. Now there are three other possibilities. One is that you could actually just be on the x-axis like that, like the point 4 comma 0. Well, when that happens, if one of the numbers is 0, the r is just the other number. And the theta is just, where is this in relationship to the x-axis? And the answer in this case is 0 degrees. If you imagine like a circle, this is 90 degrees, 180, 270. So the answer for this one is 4 cosine 0, comma 4 sine 0. There are other quadrants or other they call it quadrantal angle if it's in between two quadrants. So here I'm at 0, 4. Well, r is 4, but theta is 90 degrees in this case. So it's 4 cosine 90, comma 4 sine 90. And on the same picture, here's minus 4, 0. That's a 180 degree angle. So but 4 is the r value. 4 cosine 180, comma 4 sine 180. And the last possibility is that I'm over here at 0, negative 4. That one, the r value is 4 again, cosine, sine, but now the angle is 270. As far as the quadrants go, just summary. In this case, it's equal to the alpha. In this case, it's 180 minus alpha. In this case, it's 180 plus alpha. And in this case, it's 360 minus alpha. Those are the only four possibilities. Some people maybe try to do 270 plus alpha or 270 minus alpha for these, but it's not 180 plus 360 minus.